True strength doesn't announce itself. It doesn't rush to be seen, heard, or validated. It builds quietly, beneath the surface, in moments where no one is watching. In a world that constantly tells you to think more, analyze more, and worry more, Stoicism offers a different path, one that begins with thinking less and focusing more. Because overthinking is not intelligence. It is often fear in disguise. You've probably felt it before, that endless loop of thoughts that drain your energy without moving your life forward. You replay conversations. You imagine worst-case scenarios. You hesitate, not because you lack ability, but because your mind refuses to rest. This is where most people lose their strength. Not in failure, but in hesitation. Stoicism teaches that your power lies in what you control. And what you control is not the endless stream of thoughts in your head, but where you choose to direct your attention. When you think less about what could go wrong and focus more on what must be done, something shifts. You stop leaking energy. You become precise. Intentional. Dangerous in the best way. True strength is clarity. It is the ability to cut through noise, both from the world and from your own mind. When you simplify your thoughts, your actions become sharper. You stop chasing everything and start committing to what matters. And that is where results begin. Most people mistake overthinking for preparation. They believe that if they think long enough, they'll find the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect outcome. But perfection is an illusion that delays progress. The Stoic understands that action creates clarity, not the other way around. When you think less, you act more. And when you act more, you learn faster. You adapt. You grow. You become resilient, not because life gets easier, but because you stop resisting it. You stop negotiating with discomfort and start moving through it. Focus is your greatest weapon in a distracted world. Every notification, every opinion, every comparison pulls your attention away from what truly matters. And without focus, even the most talented person becomes average. But when you train your mind to focus, you separate yourself instantly. Imagine waking up each day with a clear direction. No confusion. No mental clutter. Just a simple understanding of what needs to be done. That kind of clarity is rare. And rare people win. Stoicism is not about suppressing your thoughts completely. It's about mastering them. It's about recognizing when your mind is working against you and choosing not to follow it blindly. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who decides which thoughts deserve your energy. There is strength in silence. There is power in calmness. When others panic, you remain steady. When others overanalyze, you execute. That difference is what separates leaders from followers. The truth is, life rewards those who move. Not those who think about moving. Not those who plan endlessly. But those who take action, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's uncertain. Especially when it's uncertain. Think about the times you made the most progress. It wasn't when you had everything figured out. It was when you took a step despite the doubt. That's the mindset Stoicism builds, courage in the face of uncertainty. You don't need more information. You need more discipline. You don't need more time. You need more focus. The answers you're searching for are often on the other side of action, not thought. Every moment you spend overthinking is a moment you could have used to build something real. To improve yourself. To move closer to your goals. And those moments add up. Over time, they define the difference between a life of intention and a life of regret. True strength begins when you stop trying to control everything and start controlling yourself. Your reactions. Your attention. Your effort. That is where your real power lies. And once you understand this, everything changes. You stop seeking approval. You stop fearing judgment. You stop waiting. You simply do what needs to be done. That is the Stoic way. If this message speaks to you, then you're already on the path to becoming stronger, calmer, and more focused than ever before. But this is just the beginning. Subscribe to this channel to get more powerful insights like this, lessons that will sharpen your mind, strengthen your discipline, and help you build a life of purpose and control. The moment you begin to focus deeply, you'll notice something uncomfortable: resistance. your mind will try to pull you back into distraction. It will suggest easier paths, quicker pleasures, and familiar habits. This is not weakness. This is conditioning. Most people have trained their minds to avoid effort and chase comfort. But strength is built when you go against that pull. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you are rewiring yourself. You are teaching your mind that it works for you, not the other way around. This is where discipline is born. Not in motivation, not in inspiration, but in repeated choices that align with your purpose. The Stoics understood something most people ignore: your attention is your life. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your results follow. If your attention is scattered, your life becomes scattered. But if your attention is controlled, your life becomes powerful. You don't need to eliminate all distractions overnight. Start small. Focus on one task. Complete it fully. Then move to the next. This simple habit, repeated daily, builds an unshakable foundation. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes natural. There is a quiet confidence that comes from focus. It doesn't need to prove itself. It doesn't seek validation. It simply knows. When you are focused, you stop comparing yourself to others because you are too busy building your own path. Overthinking thrives in uncertainty, but action destroys it. When you take a step, no matter how small, you replace doubt with experience. And experience is the strongest form of confidence. It cannot be faked. It cannot be borrowed. It must be earned. You may not realize it now, but every moment you choose focus, you are separating yourself from the majority. Most people will continue to think, hesitate, and delay. But you are building momentum. And momentum is unstoppable once it begins. There will be days when your mind feels heavy. Days when focus feels impossible. On those days, don't aim for perfection. Aim for progress. Even a small step forward is a victory. Because consistency, not intensity, is what transforms your life. Stoicism reminds us that external events are not the problem. It is our interpretation of them that creates suffering. When you think less, you give those interpretations less power. You see things as they are, not worse than they are. And that clarity keeps you grounded. When you are grounded, you become resilient. Challenges no longer shake you. Criticism no longer controls you. You begin to move with a calm certainty that others can feel but not fully understand. This is the kind of strength that doesn't fade. It doesn't depend on circumstances. It comes from within, from a disciplined mind and a focused heart. The world will continue to be loud. People will continue to chase attention, validation, and endless distractions. But you don't have to follow that path. You can choose a different way, a quieter, stronger, more intentional way. A way where you think less, focus more, and act with purpose. And in that space, you will find something rare: peace combined with power. If you've made it this far, it means you're ready for more. You're ready to separate yourself from the noise and build real strength. Subscribe to this channel for more Stoic wisdom that will help you master your mind, control your focus, and become the strongest version of yourself. As you continue on this path, you'll begin to notice a shift in how you experience time. When your mind is cluttered, time feels wasted, heavy, and unproductive. But when you are focused, time becomes sharp and valuable. Hours feel like minutes, and progress becomes visible. This is the hidden reward of discipline. It gives your life direction. Most people drift through their days reacting to whatever demands their attention. They wake up and immediately surrender their focus to the world: messages, notifications, opinions, noise. By the time the day ends, they feel exhausted, yet unfulfilled. Not because they did too much, but because they did too little of what truly mattered. You must protect your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Your future is built on what you choose to pay attention to today. Every distraction you entertain is a step away from your potential. Every moment of focus is a step toward it. The Stoics believed in living with intention. Not passively, not carelessly, but deliberately. That means deciding what matters before the world decides for you. It means setting your priorities and refusing to compromise them for temporary comfort. When you think less, you stop overcomplicating things. Life becomes simpler, clearer. You know what needs to be done, and you do it. There is no endless debate in your mind. No unnecessary delay. Just action. And through action, you build trust in yourself. You become someone who follows through. Someone who doesn't just talk, but executes. That kind of self-trust is rare, and incredibly powerful. There is also freedom in this mindset. When you are no longer trapped in overthinking, you are no longer controlled by fear of the future or regret of the past. You exist fully in the present moment, where all your power is. This is where true performance happens. Athletes call it being in the zone. Everything flows. Decisions feel natural. Movements feel effortless. But this state is not accidental. It is the result of a focused mind that is not distracted by unnecessary thoughts. You don't need to be perfect to reach this level. You just need to be present. Fully engaged in what you are doing. Giving it your complete attention. That alone will put you ahead of most people. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. What once required effort begins to feel automatic. Focus becomes your default state, not something you struggle to achieve. And when focus becomes your default, your life transforms. You start finishing what you begin. You start making consistent progress. You start seeing results that once felt impossible. Not because you changed everything overnight, but because you changed how you direct your mind. This is the quiet power of Stoicism. It doesn't promise instant success. It builds lasting strength. The kind of strength that doesn't break under pressure. The kind that stays steady when everything around you feels uncertain. And in today's world, that kind of strength is rare. But it doesn't have to be. You can build it. One decision at a time. One focused moment at a time. One disciplined action at a time. So the next time your mind begins to race, pause. Don't follow every thought. Don't get pulled into every worry. Instead, bring your attention back to what matters. Back to the present. Back to action. That is where your power is. If you're committed to building this level of focus and inner strength, then stay connected. Subscribe to this channel for more powerful Stoic insights that will help you take control of your mind, sharpen your focus, and rise above the noise. At a certain point, you'll realize something most people never do: the battle was never outside. It was always within. Not against other people, not against circumstances, but against your own scattered attention and undisciplined thoughts. And once you win that internal battle, everything external becomes easier to handle. You stop blaming situations. You stop waiting for the perfect conditions. You understand that clarity doesn't come before action, it comes from action. And that realization alone will give you an edge that most people spend their entire lives searching for. There is a different kind of confidence that grows in silence. It's not loud. It doesn't need recognition. It comes from knowing that you can rely on yourself. That when things get difficult, you won't run. You won't hide in distractions. You will focus, act, and move forward. This is what it means to become dangerous in a world full of hesitation. While others are trapped in cycles of doubt, you are executing. While others are waiting, you are building. And over time, that difference becomes impossible to ignore. But understand this: the path is not always comfortable. In fact, it rarely is. Choosing focus means saying no to distractions. It means sacrificing short-term pleasure for long-term growth. It means sitting with discomfort instead of escaping it. And that's exactly why so few people do it. Comfort is easy. Focus is hard. But everything valuable in life is on the other side of what is hard. The Stoics didn't chase comfort. They trained themselves to endure. To stay steady in the face of chaos. To remain focused when everything around them was pulling them apart. And that is the kind of mindset that builds unbreakable individuals. When you begin to adopt this way of thinking, you'll notice that your reactions change. You become slower to anger, quicker to act, and less affected by things that once controlled you. This is not weakness, this is mastery. Because true strength is not about reacting emotionally to everything. It's about choosing your response with intention. It's about staying in control when others lose theirs. And the more control you have over yourself, the less control the world has over you. Think about that for a moment. Most people are controlled by their environment. Their mood depends on what happens around them. Their focus depends on how they feel. Their actions depend on external validation. But when you train your mind, you break free from that cycle. You become self-directed. You decide how you think. You decide what you focus on. You decide how you act, regardless of circumstances. That is real power. And it doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from thinking better, and often, thinking less. Because when your mind is clear, your path becomes clear. And when your path is clear, your actions become unstoppable. There is no more confusion. No more hesitation. Just forward movement. This is where momentum takes over. Where discipline turns into identity. Where focus becomes who you are, not just something you try to do. And once you reach that point, there is no going back. You will see the world differently. You will see through distractions. You will recognize how much time people waste in their own minds, and you will refuse to do the same. You will value your attention more than ever before. Because you now understand that it is your most valuable asset. Guard it. Train it. Use it wisely. And as you continue to grow, remember this: the goal is not to eliminate thinking completely. The goal is to eliminate unnecessary thinking. The kind that creates fear, doubt, and delay. What remains is purposeful thought. Focused thought. Strategic thought. The kind that leads to action. The kind that builds results. The kind that creates a life of meaning and control. If you're still here, it means you're not just watching, you're learning. You're evolving. You're becoming someone who refuses to settle for distraction and mediocrity. And that's exactly the kind of person this channel is built for. Subscribe now and stay on this path. Because the more you train your mind, the stronger you become. The more you focus, the further you go. And the less you overthink, the faster you rise. There comes a moment when everything you've been practicing begins to click. Not in a dramatic way, but quietly. You handle situations with more control. You think less yet understand more. You act faster, but with greater precision. This is the result of a trained mind, not chaotic, not rushed, but steady and effective. At this stage, distractions don't disappear, but they lose their power over you. You notice them, but you don't follow them. You acknowledge the noise, but you remain focused. This is what separates someone who is disciplined from someone who is easily led. One reacts to everything. The other chooses carefully. Many people spend their lives chasing motivation, waiting to feel ready before they act. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes without warning. The Stoic path is different. It teaches you to act regardless of how you feel. To move forward even when you are tired, uncertain, or uninspired. This is where true growth happens, in moments where you don't feel like continuing, but you do it anyway. Every time you overcome that internal resistance, you strengthen your character. You build a version of yourself that is not controlled by moods or temporary emotions. And over time, this consistency compounds into something powerful. You begin to realize that success is not about big, dramatic actions. It's about small, consistent steps taken with focus and discipline. It's about showing up every day, doing what needs to be done, and refusing to let distractions take you off course. There is a certain peace that comes with this lifestyle. Not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger. Problems still exist, challenges still arise, but they no longer overwhelm you. You face them with clarity and calmness. This calmness is not weakness. It is control. When you are calm, you think clearly. When you think clearly, you act effectively. And when you act effectively, you get results. It's a simple chain, but one that most people break because they allow emotions and overthinking to interfere. You are learning to protect that chain. To guard your focus. To remain steady under pressure. This is what gives you an advantage in every area of life. Whether it's your work, your goals, or your personal growth, the ability to stay focused when others are distracted will always set you apart. And the best part is, this is a skill you can continue to build. It doesn't stop here. There are always deeper levels of focus, stronger levels of discipline, and greater levels of control to achieve. The journey is ongoing, and that's what makes it meaningful. You are not chasing an endpoint. You are building a way of living. A way of thinking less, focusing more, and acting with purpose. A way of becoming someone who is reliable, consistent, and strong, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. So keep going. Keep refining your focus. Keep training your mind. Keep choosing action over hesitation. Because every step you take on this path is shaping a version of you that most people will never become. And if you're serious about continuing this journey, about sharpening your mind and strengthening your discipline, then stay connected. Subscribe to this channel and keep learning. Keep growing. Keep becoming stronger, one focused moment at a time. As you move further along this path, you'll begin to notice something subtle but powerful. Your standards start to rise. What once felt acceptable no longer satisfies you. Wasted time begins to bother you. Distractions feel heavier. Not because you've become rigid, but because you've become aware of your potential. Awareness changes everything. When you are unaware, you drift. You allow habits, emotions, and circumstances to guide your life. But when you become aware, you start making deliberate choices. You begin to see clearly where your time goes, where your energy leaks, and where your focus is being stolen. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. This is where responsibility takes over. Not the kind that feels like pressure, but the kind that feels like power. You understand that your life is shaped by your actions, and your actions are shaped by your focus. So instead of blaming distractions, you take control of them. You set boundaries. You remove what weakens you. You commit to what strengthens you. This level of responsibility is rare. Many people avoid it because it forces them to confront uncomfortable truths about how they live. But you are choosing differently. You are choosing growth over comfort. And that choice will separate you over time. You'll also begin to appreciate simplicity in a new way. Not everything needs to be complicated. Not every decision requires deep analysis. Often, the right path is clear, but overthinking hides it. When you strip away the noise, what remains is usually straightforward. Do the work. Stay consistent. Focus on what matters. Repeat. It sounds simple because it is simple. But simple does not mean easy. It requires discipline to stick to simplicity in a world that constantly pulls you toward complexity. This is where your training shows. You don't get pulled into every trend, every opinion, or every distraction. You stay grounded. You stay focused. You stay committed to your path, even when it's not popular or exciting. And that consistency builds something powerful: trust in yourself. When you trust yourself, you don't hesitate as much. You don't second-guess every decision. You move with certainty, not because you know everything, but because you know you will handle whatever comes. That kind of mindset is unshakable. It allows you to take risks without fear controlling you. It allows you to face challenges without being overwhelmed. It allows you to keep moving forward, even when the outcome is uncertain. Because at this point, you understand something deeply: your strength is not in predicting the future, but in preparing yourself to face it. And preparation comes from focus, from discipline, from consistent action. So continue to build that foundation. Continue to train your attention. Continue to simplify your thoughts and sharpen your actions. Because every day you do this, you are becoming more aligned with the person you are capable of being. A person who does not get lost in overthinking. A person who does not get distracted easily. A person who knows what matters, and acts on it. And if you're committed to becoming that person, then stay on this journey. Subscribe to this channel for more insights that will help you stay focused, think clearly, and build the kind of strength that lasts a lifetime. As your focus sharpens, you'll begin to notice a deeper level of control emerging, control over your impulses. The urge to check your phone, to procrastinate, to escape into comfort, it doesn't disappear, but it weakens. You see it for what it is: a distraction pulling you away from your purpose. And instead of reacting instantly, you pause. That pause is power. In that small space between impulse and action, you reclaim control over your life. Most people never develop this awareness. They live in reaction mode, constantly pulled in different directions by whatever demands their attention. But you are learning to respond, not react. And that difference changes everything. The Stoic mindset is not about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming intentional. You still feel, but you are not controlled by those feelings. You still think, but you are not overwhelmed by your thoughts. You remain grounded, steady, and focused, no matter what arises. This level of control allows you to navigate challenges with clarity. When something goes wrong, you don't panic. You assess. You adapt. You act. While others are caught in emotional storms, you remain centered. And that stability gives you an advantage in every situation. Over time, people will start to notice this about you. They may not understand it, but they will feel it. Your calmness, your focus, your discipline, it stands out in a world full of noise and reaction. You become someone others look to when things become uncertain. But remember, this is not about impressing others. It's about mastering yourself. Because when you master yourself, everything else becomes easier to handle. Your goals become clearer. Your actions become more effective. Your progress becomes consistent. And your confidence becomes real. You no longer rely on external validation. You don't need constant approval or recognition. Your satisfaction comes from knowing that you are doing the work, staying focused, and improving every day. That kind of internal validation is powerful. It cannot be taken from you. It does not depend on trends, opinions, or circumstances. It is built through discipline and maintained through consistency. There will still be challenges ahead. There will be moments where you feel tested, where distractions seem stronger, where focus feels harder to maintain. But those moments are part of the process. They are not setbacks. They are opportunities to reinforce your discipline. Every time you choose focus in those moments, you become stronger. Every time you resist distraction, you gain more control. Every time you act despite doubt, you build more confidence. This is how transformation happens. Not all at once, but gradually. Through small, repeated decisions that align with your values. And one day, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. How much clearer your mind has become. How much stronger your discipline is. How much more control you have over your life. That realization is worth everything. So keep going. Stay focused. Stay disciplined. Stay intentional. Because the path you're on leads to a version of yourself that is calm, strong, and in control, no matter what life brings. And if you're serious about continuing this journey, about building real strength from within, then don't stop here. Subscribe to this channel and keep learning. Keep growing. Keep mastering your mind, one focused decision at a time. As you continue building this mindset, you'll start to value your energy as much as your time. Because it's not just about how many hours you have, it's about how well you use them. Two people can have the same amount of time, but the one with focused energy will always achieve more. This is why thinking less becomes so important. Every unnecessary thought drains you. Every worry that leads nowhere weakens your ability to act. But when you reduce that mental noise, you preserve your energy for what truly matters: execution. You begin to move through your day with intention. Not rushing, not scattered, but deliberate. You know when to focus deeply and when to rest. You stop glorifying busyness and start prioritizing effectiveness. Because being busy is easy. Being effective requires discipline. The Stoic approach reminds you to conserve your energy for meaningful action. Not every situation deserves your reaction. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every problem needs your immediate involvement. Learning to step back is just as powerful as knowing when to step forward. This balance is what keeps you steady. Without it, you burn out. With it, you sustain progress. You also start to notice that many of the things that once stressed you were never truly important. They only felt important because you gave them too much attention. When you think less about them, they lose their weight. And when they lose their weight, you feel lighter. This is the freedom that comes from mental discipline. It allows you to move forward without carrying unnecessary burdens. It allows you to stay focused on what truly matters, without being pulled into every minor distraction or inconvenience. And as you lighten that mental load, your performance improves. You think clearer. You act faster. You recover quicker from setbacks. You maintain your focus even in challenging situations. This is not luck. This is training. Training your mind to filter out what doesn't matter. Training your attention to stay where it's needed. Training yourself to remain steady when others lose control. Over time, this becomes your natural state. You no longer have to force focus, it becomes who you are. And when that happens, your growth accelerates. You start achieving more in less time. You start making better decisions. You start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. Because your mind is no longer cluttered with unnecessary noise. It is clear, sharp, ready. This is what gives you an edge in everything you do. Not talent alone. Not luck. But the ability to think less about what doesn't matter and focus more on what does. So protect your energy. Guard your attention. And continue to build this discipline every single day. Because the more you refine it, the more powerful you become. If you're ready to keep growing, to keep sharpening your focus and strengthening your mind, then stay with this channel. Subscribe now and continue this journey toward clarity, discipline, and true inner strength.